What's up, everyone? John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo, and I am just back from the Apple, iPhone, iPad, some other stuff event that I wanted to share my thoughts about it. We did hands-on with all the new products yesterday, so if you want to see those, we'll link to them here, or put links down below. But now that I've been a bit removed from the event and the reality distortion field has dropped, I want to just give my thoughts on mostly the new phones and the iPad Pro. The S models have usually been pretty exciting, save for maybe the 3GS. This generation, though, I don't know how excited I am for it. So first, the rose gold color. It looks nice in person. It's very shiny. It looks exactly like you'd expect. Certainly a bit more on the feminine side of color spectrum, but it looks nice. The big story, though, is 3D Touch or Force Touch. And again, whole video demonstrating it. It does work completely as advertised. You force touch and things happen. It's kind of cool to have a sort of a secondary input to make things work on the screen. So last night I got home and I was trying to explain to my wife what Force Touch is, and I showed her her hands-on video, and she's like, let me get this straight. If you force touch on the phone icon, it pulls up your favorites. I was like, yeah, but not all your favorites. She's like, well, if I just tap the icon, I can pick all my favorites. I was like, yeah, but... She's like, well, let me show you what Mail can do. So I showed her the video where I hold down Mail and you can edit and create a new email. And she's like, well, if I just open my Mail app, I can do that too. And sort of when you do Force Touch, for the phone, for example, you Force Touch once, and then you tap again on the person you want to call, for example. It's the same thing with the normal phone. You tap the icon, then you tap the person you want to call. Nothing magic is happening there. I was like, yeah, but... Then I realized I had no response. So yes, it's neat. It works as advertised. It's really cool to see Force Touch on a phone. Didn't get me that excited to go run out and camp out to necessarily buy a new device. I was way more excited for the iPhone 6 and the 6 Plus announcement because I really was just wanted a bigger iPhone. This one I'm less enthusiastic about. It also was a little on this fishy side. They didn't mention battery one time during the iPhone announcement. Usually they'll say, all is new hardware plus same all-day battery life. They didn't. Following the event, Apple released a full product video where we saw that the battery in the phones are about 100 milliamp hours actually smaller than the previous generation. So I don't know how that's going to impact battery life, but certainly is probably not going to make it much better. The battery life on the iPhone certainly was not an issue. So as far as the phones go, Force Touch is neat. iOS 9 is nice. It doesn't have any sort of widgets that I personally would have liked. I don't know if I would be running out to go upgrade, in all honesty. If you're coming from 2 generations ago, so maybe say you're on a 5S or older, absolutely, if you're an iOS user, it's going to be a big upgrade. If you've got an iPhone 6 or 6 Plus, I don't know if it's worth it. If I didn't do this for a living, if I didn't review devices, I think I'd probably sit this gen out and just see what happens. But of course, we'll have them here and we'll try it. Maybe my mind will be blown that I can update my Facebook status from just using Force Touch. I don't know, but that was just my initial thoughts on it. Next, let's talk about the iPad Pro. And from the videos that we did and from seeing what Apple announced, you might think it's like a magical device. And it's really a 12.9-inch iPad. It's a big iPad. You know exactly what it is. It looks and feels like an iPad Air. It's a big-ass iPad. With a beautiful screen, high resolution and everything, but it's a big iPad. I'm having a hard time figuring out who it's for. So they announced the Apple Pencil, which was weird in its own right to see Apple announce a stylus. That was a very strange thing to see. And they're really pushing hard the idea that it's for graphic designers. They had graphic designers at the event. They showed them on stage. If you're a graphic designer, and I'm not one, so maybe I'm wrong here, and if you happen to be one, chime in the comments, but if you want something really exact to draw on, what did you pick up, like a Wacom tablet? It seems like they've been doing that for years with much more accuracy than on a screen. I tried the pencil though, and it did work really well. I got almost kind of one-to-one motion, but I'm not sure what the use case is. It doesn't come with the tablet. It's an extra $100. It doesn't have a place to dock it or push it in or magnetically attach to anything. So I still have a hard time realizing what the iPad Pro is going to be for, although I'm excited for it for the only reason that I can use it as a big, giant teleprompter. So I don't have to squint when I'm looking at it. Yeah, what does that say? But that is not a common use case. Plus, it's also super expensive. But again, we'll have it here and we'll try it, but I don't know. I was also disappointed we didn't see an update to the iPad Air. And they mentioned the update to the iPad Mini for 8 seconds on stage. And just my thoughts and ramblings on the event. I was kind of excited day of, then I thought about it, I got home, I rewatched their videos, and I was like, meh. I think the next gen maybe might be the one to get. Maybe iOS 10 will be the one that we finally get. Widgets. I would have really liked some sort of quick charging. I use that on my Samsung devices all the time. It's like a magic trick. Wireless charging. Every new iPhone, I was like, this is the one, we're going to get wireless charging. I'm like a guy who stands outside with an umbrella saying, it's going to rain. It's going to rain every day. Today it's going to rain. Today it's going to rain. One day I'm going to be right. And on that day, friends, I will be a genius. Android is offering a lot of really great options. And Android OS has gotten really good. Marshmallow's around the corner. You have a tough decision to make with which phone that you want to get. If you're a loyal iOS user, try Android. See if it's something that you might want to use. If you're an Android user, maybe try iOS. Try the other side. It's sometimes nice. The grass actually can be greener. I carry two phones. Usually I've got an Android device and an iPhone. I have apps that I use on both. I like to share folders on iCloud. But usually my SIM, at least recently, has been more in the Android device. The one I use is my own personal phone. But we'll see, maybe that'll change once we get the new phones in. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about the phones is a 16 gigabyte option. You're gonna announce 4K recording, live photos, and OS it's gonna probably take up 4 or so gigs. And you're gonna do a 16 gig phone? That's crazy. I could see a 16 gig phone if it had expandable storage. Not starting at 32 is asinine to me. People who buy a 16 because maybe it's all they can afford or it's the least expensive way to get the new hardware are going to get a limited experience. We ran a whole article saying why you shouldn't buy it, but apps are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Apps are regularly a gig size. You install a few of those and your phone is useless. Don't forget about storing pictures locally on your device. Forget about storing any movies on your device. You're going to have no space for it. I cannot fathom a 16 gig phone. But of course there are other options, 64 and 128, which will be nice, but I just can't see why there's even 16 gig that exists. So don't buy a 16 gig. Go for the 64, 128. That's my advice. And what do you guys think? Do you agree or disagree with my thoughts? I'd love to just have a dialogue on it. Be nice to each other in the comments. Anytime there's an Apple event, there are always two people that comment. One that are Apple fans, and they'll sort of say anything Apple does is great. And the other are the Android fans who will just say everything Apple does is horrible. Try to just be in the middle. Look objectively at the products, not what you feel that you have in your pocket. And let's have a discussion on it. So next time, I am John Render from Techno Buffalo. See you guys next video.